bringing sports, entertainment, and technology podcasts together. This is SPNT.
SPNT's Thursday Tech Talk is brought to you by Stitcher Smart Radio. Download the Stitcher Smart Radio app today at stitcher.com/SPNT.
Welcome to SPNT's Thursday Tech Talk, the show where we bring you the biggest stories in the world of the video games, computers, tablets, mobile phones, and more. Now, here's your hosts, Nick and Nick.
What's happening, everybody? It's Thursday Tech Talk coming at you on Saturday. Wait, what? I know. Yes, it's Thursday Tech Talk. We are recording this on a Saturday night because of a certain Nick's travel obligations next week, plus some illnesses the week before. Either way, we're here for you live Saturday night. We're glad you could join us here for Thursday Tech Talk. I am Nick Suberling, and I'm joined alongside my co-host, Nick Walls. Nick, how you been, man?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. There's a lot of news in the world of tech. We should get right into it with our headlines.
Headlines.
If you've been living in a cave, you probably didn't hear about the giant riot at Foxconn over in China. Yes, that's right. Sorry, folks. Your iPhone 5s might be a little delayed because workers over there rioted over working conditions and various other issues at the Foxconn factory.
Microsoft patches Internet Explorer zero-day flaw in record time and yet is criticized for it. Conspiracy theorists believe that the software giant sat on a fix for this previously unknown flaw for as long as weeks. Is this criticism fair? What was Microsoft supposed to do? Announce to the world that there is a flaw? Even if they did know for weeks, at least they prevented hackers from creating malware that would take advantage of the vulnerability. Rest easy out there. The software has been updated to fix the issue.
You may have noticed that a couple companies now are switching to a software as a service model, kind of like you get with Google's whole Docs and all their other services. Adobe and Microsoft are moving their most popular apps into a subscription-based service. We'll tell you what the pros and cons are soon.
Google's Chrome web browser has been updated to version 22. Chrome will automatically update for current users. If you'd like to give the latest version a try, head over to the Chrome download page. The update features some JavaScript improvements and a new mouse API that should help make online games more fun. Chrome 22 supports the pointer lock JavaScript API, often referred to as mouse lock. If you'd like to see the pointer lock API in action, point the latest version of Chrome at Banana Bread, Mozilla's 3D first-person shooter demo over on the Mozilla Developer Network. I got there, Nick. It just took me a little while.
Yeah, you got there. So guess what, folks? I've been running Windows 8 for about 2 weeks now, and I'm ready to give you our look at the review of the final build that goes out to customers. I'll tell you all about it coming up soon.
Markus Persson, creator of the hit indie game Minecraft and CEO of Mojang, I hope I got that right, Nick, is fed up with Microsoft and its Windows 8 operating system. The software giant reached out to Persson hoping he would certify his game for Windows 8, a requirement for the company's App Store. The outspoken game developer, however, replied to Microsoft by telling it to stop trying to ruin the PC as an open platform. He went on to write on his Twitter page that he would rather have Minecraft not run on Windows 8 at all than to play along, adding that maybe we can convince a few people not to switch to Windows 8 that way. That's a look at our tech headlines for this week. So let's take a quick break and tell you about Gazelle.com. Gazelle offers you a fast and easy way to get cold, hard cash for your used electronics. Got an old iPhone, maybe an old iPad, or maybe a smartphone you're no longer using? You've got to cash it in. You've got cash sitting in your pocket and you don't even know it. Try Gazelle. They offer free shipping, secure data removal, and they'll even send you a box for your gadgets to make packaging easy. Check them out today at spnt.tv/Gazelle. All right, Nick, so let's hit at these headlines a little further. I want to know, first of all, let's skip ahead to the Windows 8. I did not know you had it.
Okay.
Let's talk about it.
Yes, I have am a TechNet subscriber, so I get access to all of Microsoft software pretty early. It costs a little bit a year, initially $200 if you want to join. After that, $150, and you get access to everything from every version of Windows all the way back to Windows 3.11 if you really want it, and every version of Office. So I went ahead and downloaded. I haven't touched Office yet. It's still in a consumer preview stage. I want to test the final build. But I downloaded the final build of Windows 8, wiped my entire hard drive, and installed it. It is a very interesting operating system. Microsoft is really making this tablet push big time. I can see, though, that this is going to drive people nuts unless they have two monitors. Because with two monitors, you get to see your desktop still on one of them, and then you have that big start menu that everyone is seeing on the other. So it's easier to get to your desktop faster, where you don't have to actually click the desktop start menu button, and it's easier to get access to charm bars and all the other information that's in Windows 8. And the charm bar, for our listeners that don't know, there's a little bar that appears on the right side of your monitor when you move your mouse over there, and it has various functions. That's actually how you shut Windows down now. It's not in Start anymore. That took me a while to find. I dig the simplicity of Metro. I dig the simple style of it. It looks a lot cleaner. It makes stuff run a little bit faster, because before on Windows 7, if you had an older computer and you had the Aero glass turned on where everything was transparent, it ran a little slow. The Metro makes everything run a lot more faster because it's not transparent, and I think it looks better. But I don't think people are going to get into this new start menu Metroized version of it at all. I really don't. I think companies are going to outright pass on it. It's really weird being usually using my PC for gaming and some light development. So gaming, I'm always in Steam, which is a desktop app. So the first thing I do is click on Steam. I don't even go into the start menu. And like I said, since I have two monitors, it's easy to get to. If you didn't, you'd be in a world of trouble.
All right, so explain this to me like okay. I am pretty computer savvy. Now, I cannot say that my mom is. No offense, Mom. Just saying. Sometimes you don't know how to do stuff on your computer, and I have to bail you out. Is this an operating system that is going to be user-friendly for somebody like her?
If a person's already used Windows in their life, no. They have to relearn everything. And that's a huge problem. Now, if you handed someone a tablet, a Windows 8 tablet, they'd be fine. It makes sense. It's like an iPad. You scroll left to right, up, down. I mean, that makes complete sense. But on a desktop, you're going to have to relearn everything.
So it sounds like there's no way this will work in the business world.
Absolutely not. No way. I've already checked with some IT folks around my company. They outright say no.
Interesting. Considering our company still uses XP.
Yep, we still use XP. Slowly but surely going to 7. But yeah, I mean, that was the big thing, because we're really going through, to be real geeky, the Star Trek release of Windows. Every other one is kind of a bomb. Vista wasn't bad after like Service Pack 1 and a couple patches. It ran decent after that. It was fine. But out of the box, it was horrible.
Yeah.
Windows 7 out of the box was awesome. It was the best version of Windows I've used yet. I actually got frustrated going to work and having to use Windows XP and not having Windows 7 because I got so used to how it was. But now Windows 8, it's interesting. I'm not gonna. Let's put it this way. I'm not gonna delete it and reinstall everything just because I don't want to go through that hassle. I'm gonna live with it. But when my computer either crashes, dies, or I need to reinstall Windows, it's gonna be an extremely tough choice for me. Do I go back and grab my Windows 7 disk, or do I use Windows 8?
It sounds like you would go with Windows 7. I mean, that's just based on what you've said so far.
Yeah, we'll see, because they actually have what we think is a service pack with a code name out there already, coming out pretty quick. It's sometime next year, early next year. I don't know what's entailed in that. Is that going to be what everyone's complaining about with these early versions, that they're just going to fix it all fast? So I really want to wait to see what happens with that, to see if this is just a service pack that just has security patches, then that's kind of bad. Or is it like we got with XP Service Pack 2, where it added a ton of functionality to the operating system? So we'll see what happens then. And if after that, if that service pack's kind of a bust, yeah, I might just go ahead and wipe the whole drive and start over again with Windows 7. It worked great. What I am noticing is the same thing that killed Vista: no driver support.
Nice.
The one driver I had my video card had a driver, so that was good for gaming. So at least my video card's working. But I use a gaming keyboard and a gaming mouse by Razer with advanced functions in it for when I'm doing first-person shooters. No drivers for those yet. No driver for my printer. Not that I print much, so I'm not too worried about it, but no driver for it. I use an internal sound card, which Windows supports fine. That really doesn't matter. So the sound card, the network, like the basic drivers that you have on your motherboard are going to work.
Right.
Because actually most Windows 7 drivers do work with Windows 8, but some of them don't.
Okay, so is there anything good about the operating system that you like? At least give us one thing.
Actually, the look. I really dig the look of the operating system. The clean look is very nice. I've been a Mac fan for a long time, and I've been getting very angry with Apple lately. Mac fans will realize that when you open your calendar and it looks like a desktop calendar with leather stitching. I hate that kind of stuff. I'm a very simple OS guy. Plain silver's fine for me. So in Windows 8, seeing that plain flat Metro interface, I think it looks great. That is awesome. And the other thing I really like, which makes it easier for me as a power user, in Windows 7 you have that little search bar at the bottom of the start menu. You don't have that anymore. But the best thing about it now is you just type. If you're in the start menu, you can just start typing, and it will automatically get to the app you want, and you just hit enter. So it's actually, that part is a lot faster, and I really like that. They've made that for power users a lot quicker.
So, okay, can you still Alt-Tab between applications?
Okay. Yeah, you can Alt-Tab between desktop applications, but if you have a Metro app open, it's kind of weird because it's full screen. I haven't been able to get a combination of a Metro app Alt-tabbing with a desktop app.
What about okay, so you have your Windows button on your keyboard, and D gets you to the desktop. Does that still work?
Yep, that still works.
Okay, I'm just trying to think of any other shortcut. As what you call a power user, we generally don't use our mouse all that often. It's mostly strictly limited to the keyboard. And I know I have a love affair with my keyboard shortcuts. So as far as this operating system goes, it still sounds like you can tab through using stuff that you're used to. But as far as like the actual shutting down Windows and switching between applications that aren't Windows apps, so if they're Metro apps, you can't do it that way either. So it sounds like there's some new features for even people who are computer savvy like us, Nick, that we still will have to get used to.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to get used to some stuff in there. It's gonna be a learning curve again. There was a little bit of a learning curve from people when we went from Windows 3.11 to Windows 95, because Windows 95 was more Mac-like, and now we're just going to go through that same learning curve again, where we have to just learn some new keyboard shortcuts. Fortunately, Microsoft is making new keyboards or licensing new keyboards. So now instead of a Windows key, you also have a Windows key and a Charms key, which is that side panel I was telling you about. So Microsoft is trying to make keyboards for us power users so we can just go through stuff quickly and don't have to deal with the mousing around the start menu.
Now here's the next tricky question, I guess. The price point. They're really banking on a lot of people spending money on this because it is very affordable software.
$40. At $40, here's what I would recommend. At $40, if you're feeling adventurous, if you want to live on the cutting edge, do it. It still has you won't lose functionality. Everything else runs. Steam still runs, games run, everything runs. So go ahead and do it for $40. Or if go ahead and pay the $40 and wait till it's upgraded, because the $40 price point ends at January. So go ahead, if you're thinking about getting it and keeping it, get it now, save it until you get some patches in there, and then you can run Windows 7 in the meantime. So that's what I would recommend doing if you're interested in it at all. So for $40, it doesn't hurt anything. That's the cheapest a Microsoft OS has ever been.
Now, just because it's $40 does not mean that your computer can run Windows 8. And we know that there are still people out there who run Windows XP. I'm going to go ahead and guess that those people who haven't gone ahead and upgraded their PCs within, the last maybe 2.5 years, Nick, that there's probably no way that Windows 8 will be able to run on that hardware.
I'm going to go with what Microsoft says here. If your computer can run Windows 7 well, it'll run Windows 8 well. That's what Microsoft has put out. Any computer that's running Windows 7 just fine will run Windows 8 just fine.
Well, okay. I'm just saying, for those of you who tune in, if you have XP, don't go buy the software, because chances are you're going to have to get a new computer. So let's just...
Yeah, I definitely, our XP, if you bought a computer with XP on it, I would be, unless you bought a powerful gaming machine, I would be a little hesitant to, go ahead and do it. But with just basic laptop, yeah, I definitely upgrade to Windows. I would stick with XP. It'll be fine. Yeah, you might be able to push out Windows 7, because Windows 7 actually runs pretty good.
We are having audio issues with you, Nick. So again, we are having audio issues. So what we're going to do is I will take this opportunity to remind everybody that you can email the show at techtalk@spnt.tv. You can also hit us up on Twitter. We are at SPNT Tech Talk. Hit us up on Twitter at SPNT Tech Talk. We'd love to hear your feedback, whether it's good or bad. Once again, that email address is also techtalk@spnt.tv. I got Nick back. Nick, what else are we going to talk about this week?
Well, let's jump straight into
you got to be kidding me.
No, not again.
Unplug your headset. We'll just use the built-in mic on your laptop. Oh, my goodness.
Does this sound okay?
And it's still Skype's. We're having issues with Skype tonight. This is a first for Thursday Tech Talk on a Saturday.
Yep. It's a Saturday. It's the Saturday that's messing us up.
It's probably it, because everybody and their brothers are calling their families, their moms and dads from across the country, the world. Actually, I have no idea, but hopefully this will work, and we'll make it work for the rest of the show. What else do we need to talk about this week?
Let's jump right into that criticism that Notch gave, the creator of Minecraft, on gaming on Windows 8. This is going to be part of Windows 8 that we were talking about in the review, where Windows, despite being a closed source application, was fairly open. You could pretty much you could install anything you wanted on it. You could do anything you wanted to it. Now with Windows 8 locking it down, with that App Store, really pushing people to use the Start Menu Metro system and not the desktop system, you're going to see people like this revolt against it. Not just revolted against it. We've already heard comments from the crew at Valve, who make Steam. We've heard from the guys at Blizzard, who make World of Warcraft. So this is going to be part of this review, and we'll see coming out later what's going to happen with this pushback.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like any of these big gaming corporations are real thrilled with Microsoft right now. It seems like every week there's a new one just kind of coming out of the the woods. Like, you're right. We've talked about Blizzard. We've talked about the guys at Steam, and now here we are with the guys at behind Minecraft, which is a hugely popular game. Of course, I've never played it, but still, I know it's a very popular game, and I don't know how many more body blows Microsoft can take. And
especially now, being a OS X user, on a mainly day-to-day basis with everything but gaming. In the App Store alone, I'm seeing tons of games coming out. This is weird. These are new games. And Steam is on OS X now, and Steam is going to have a Linux beta coming out soon, where they're going to start rolling it out to Linux users. So I think Windows 8 is pushing gaming companies to these two other platforms really quickly.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's again, I'm not a Steam user. I know that you are. I know you're a big-time PC gamer as well. But I'm just wondering how many more of these companies are going to come out and really kind of drop the hammer on Microsoft. I mean, we've pretty much hit some of the major corporations out there, Nick, that are firmly against this Windows 8 operating system. I'd be interested to see what some when we get closer to launch date, which isn't too far away, if anybody else comes out.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting coming up to launch date there.
So let's move ahead, and we got some feedback last week at our website at spnt.tv about software downloads as far as annual subscriptions to use their software. A lot of corporations are going that way as well. We know that Adobe has a subscription service where you pay X amount of dollars per month, and your software will always be up to date. Now, you're also using a lot of these apps maybe through the web, but there are some downloadable versions too, Nick. Why don't we talk about that a little bit more?
Sure, yeah. This is a fan requested one, and it's actually a really good one to talk about here because Adobe is moving to a subscription model for a lot of its major apps. Looking through the list right now, I see Photoshop, Flash Professional, if you really want to get on that bandwagon, Premiere Pro, After Effects, Audition. So there's the movie and music apps right there. InDesign, which is a huge magazine design layout one. So they're moving to this subscription model. If you pay for a full year up front, most of these are $20 a month. If you pay month to month, most of them are $30 a month. But the cool thing about this is, with a lot of these cloud type memberships, is you're going to get all the updates. So when Photoshop is going to transition to a new version, when they move to a new version of Photoshop CS, you're going to get that version without having to jump and pay a $400 upgrade fee or a $300 upgrade fee, depending on the Adobe program, to get. And that's kind of neat. It's spreading that cost out over time instead of having one massive fee up, every few years. So to me, it looks like it's about the same price as if you were waiting to upgrade, because Adobe upgrades their stuff pretty regularly. And Microsoft is also doing this well, and I think this is actually kind of a good thing for what I thought before was quite overpriced, in my opinion. Office 2013 and Office 365 are going to get home licenses here. Office 2013 being the product you'd go to the store, buy a CD. That's going to cost $139, and you only get Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and OneNote. Business is $219, which adds Outlook. But you can do Office 365 for $99 a year. You get 20 gigabytes of storage on the cloud in Microsoft SkyDrive, 16 minutes of Skype calling, which is kind of amazing. And Office 365, I don't know if this version we'll have to wait to see when it comes out, but historically, Office 365 has also supported with that membership, you download the Office. You don't have to use it in the web. So you have a local copy installed where you can actually use it if you're offline on a laptop, which is kind of cool. $99 a year, that's a lot better than me having to jump out and pay, because I usually like to have Outlook just to test it out, paying $200 every 4 years.
No, I'm with you 100%. I know how much we spent, a couple years ago. My wife's a graphic designer, and I know how much she spent on the Adobe suite of products. She got Photoshop. She got, I believe she got InDesign. There's probably another one that I'm forgetting that's a big one for graphic designers. Illustrator, Adobe Illustrator, which is, huge for graphic designers. So I remember how much that hit my wallet. In fact, I think I've purchased 3 personal computers for less than that software bundle. I mean, isn't that ridiculous to think that, Nick?
Yeah, that's absolutely crazy. I mean, especially especially with the weird pricing in this modern day. The pricing was completely understandable back in the day when this software was designed for big companies and professionals who make a ton of money off what they do with this software. Nowadays, you have web designers that are just a couple small team that don't make a ton of money, but they need these professional tools to do images, design layouts. If they want to be in Flash, they need the Flash utility to program a Flash game that they're not going to make much money off of. So you got these smaller teams, or now it seems more affordable to spend $20 a month as opposed to if you need a bunch of things like the full Adobe suite. I think is over $1,000.
Yeah. And I asked my wife what when I found out that these pieces of software were available like that for a subscription base, and she kind of shook her head and said, "No, I mean, it really depends on. I mean, what she needs it for. She's got the tools and it works for her. So, but then you have some other probably some businesses that may need this software, and it would be way more affordable to go that route."
It's going to take a little bit. I mean, it's going to take a little bit of push to get people into that mentality. I know a lot of people out there still don't like Google Docs a lot because it's kind of weird. You're in a web browser. I want my full Word or Excel open. Well, I want Excel open. I don't think Google Docs spreadsheets is that great when you're doing some serious Excel stuff.
Right.
But it's going to take a push. There's going to be it's like that. It's like that thing where there's that cutoff between the old school and the new school. Where you got some old school guys that hate the modern web because there's images on it. They used to browse it in text and it was fast and awesome. And then there's people that, so there's people like us that are used to downloading Office, downloading Photoshop, using it offline, not having to sign into a web account and all this other stuff that it might take a little bit for us to get into that era where now we're going to use everything online. Well, and the current operating systems are kind of forcing that. Windows 8, when you create an account on the install, it asks for a live ID right away. So you need to. It's like you don't have to have one. There's an option, but they're obviously nudging you in that direction to say, sign in with your live ID, and then your mail and your calendar and all that, your contacts and your apps you buy will all be there for you, ready to go. With Mac, you have iCloud. It asks you for an iCloud ID, so you can sign in and have that same thing with your iTunes and everything else synced up. So the operating systems are pushing us more into that. Let's go online. Let's not have this, piece of software that we need to download and just everything. I know for a fact Adobe is doing testing internally to get their apps running in a web browser.
Interesting.
So you even download Photoshop anymore. You'll load up your favorite web browser and Photoshop.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, we're going back in time. I don't know how many of our listeners remember the days where you didn't log on to a computer. You logged onto a terminal and connected to a server. You didn't have anything local. We're going back to that. It changed. It went to everything was installed. Now we're going back to everything's on a server on the web, and we have a dumb computer. And I think the Chrome boxes that Google pushed out a little too quick, because it's inevitably going to happen. But I think they came out a little too fast. Guns a-blazing,
Well, we'd love to hear your thoughts, and once again, big time thanks to Rob for submitting that story to us. You can hit us up. We'd love to hear your thoughts on software versus subscription. Hit us up at techtalk@spnt.tv. Let's do one more, Nick, and then we'll do the best part of the show.
Okay, I think a lot of people already have heard. I've heard about it on the local news and CNN about the Foxconn riot. So we'll skip that. It's a bad situation. I just recommend people go look it up and read about it, so you can get the news. But we've kind of bashed Microsoft this show. Let's give them some good news, okay? Microsoft patched an IE 0-day flaw that time, and it was record time. I've never seen a patch come out that fast. But they're getting so much criticism for maybe knowing about it in advance. And if there's one thing that you need to know about security is a company might know of a flaw, but open source typing will there goes my little iPad off in the distance. Would an open source company might actually tell you about the flaw and be open about it. Well, Microsoft's not an open source company. It's a closed operating system. It's a closed web browser. It's a company web browser. A lot of major companies are tied to IE. So they need to approach security from a very different mentality. And if they know of a zero-day flaw, but they don't see it exploited in the wild, why would they tell you about it so people could exploit it?
Right.
It's like, why are you complaining? Even if they knew about it, as soon as it became 0 day, they patched it, which was the right thing to do. Until it's 0 day, it can fit into the regular patch Tuesday cycle. Every Tuesday, first Tuesday of every month, I think it is, Microsoft does a massive patch. If it's non-0 day, which for our listeners, 0 day means it's actively exploited in the wild. There's actual viruses, spyware, malware, every kind of ware that's out there actually taking advantage of the whole. So since it became 0 day and got actively exploited, Microsoft patched this thing in a week, which is awesome.
Wow.
So I don't know why people are complaining. I mean, they get a lot of flack. Like we had a suggestion from our friend Anthony about this is actually, I think this thing has been recently killed in the current Microsoft malware update every month. But there's a virus with the FBI, come from an FBI computer, ironically enough. Way to go, guys. And it wants you to pay $200 with a credit card to unlock your computer. So your Windows will lock up. You won't be able to use it until you give these hackers your credit card number. Now, the FBI didn't create this thing. It's a virus that they obviously were looking at to try to figure out who created it. It got leaked onto the actual internet and got infected some people. But Microsoft has patched this, I think it was last month, so you don't have to pay $200 to enter your credit card number. So people got to give Microsoft some. I think you should give them extreme credit. They're really making a push to keep IE as the top browser. It's going open standard. It's going to compete with the likes of all the other open browsers with Google Chrome and Firefox. I don't think they really give anything about Safari on the Mac because Safari recently dropped a Windows edition. So I think they're really just looking at Chrome and Firefox. These guys are supporting open standards. Let's go ahead and compete with them and do an open browser as well. And then when they find flaws in the web, and it's 0 day, they patched it in record time. I think we should give them props for that.
Look, I mean, it's like a football team, where you know how to beat a team, and why would you tell somebody or somebody in the media about your strategy for that week? I mean, what you're doing each week. It's the same type of thing. We know that the right cornerback can't cover us, so we're going to target him the whole time. I mean, that's the same thing. It's the exact same thing.
No football team would give up the strategy that they learned watching the tapes of the previous games. There's no way that they would do that. I mean, look how paranoid football coaches are on the sidelines in today's games. They're covering their mouth with paper. I saw one game last weekend in the SEC where there was 3 guys holding up a towel in front of the dang coach, like a massive, like 3 beach towels. I was like, what the heck is going on? I mean, look how paranoid you are on the game day, yet alone previous. So Microsoft had a flaw. Why would they tell hackers about it to say, hey, come on in, there's a flaw in Internet Explorer, go take advantage of all these corporations that are heavily dependent on Internet Explorer, because it went all the way back to version 6.
Wow.
So it's 6, 7, 8, 9. The only one that it was patched in is 10. And the only people that have 10 are running Windows 8, which we know is not many. So it affected everybody who's running IE pretty much in the entire world.
Oh, hey, they got it fixed, Whiners, quit your complaining. And I mean, we always talk about or want people like Microsoft and Apple to fix something quick, and here once again they do it, and we're unhappy. You know
Yeah,
what? Whatever.
go whine about the Maps app. That's actually a valid thing to whine about.
There
Leave
you go.
Microsoft alone for an IE patch.
Speaking of apps,
Listening audience, it's that time in the show you've all been waiting for. The time when Nick and Nick tell you their Apps of the Week.
once again, thanks to Uncle Rob. Nick, it's that time. Apps of the week. What do you got for us?
Well, Xbox people out there might remember a game called Geometry Wars. It was a cool Xbox Live download game that reminiscent of an old 80s arcade shooter. Well, guess what, folks? There is Geometry Wars on the iPhone, but it's kind of horrible. So I found the replacement. It's called Infinity Field. It's a great game, just like Geometry Wars is. It's 99 cents. It's dirt cheap. The twin sticks on that screen without having them work great. It compensates your finger moving around, and it is a load of fun. And when it gets insane, just like Geometry Wars, it gets crazy. So Infinity Field on the iPhone.
I'm going to give my app of the week, and how do I want to put this nicely? It's not even a good thing. I'm giving a not so app of the week. Yeah. All right. So
we can do a negative. We can do a negative one.
All right.
Tell the people to stay away from an app.
Yeah, I'm officially now. I've been using this app for many months now, but I cannot stand the official Twitter app. I cannot stand it. The one that actual Twitter put out. I can't use it. It seems like every time I try to maneuver inside the app, whether it's checking my own direct messages or switching between accounts, it's just not very functional. I hate it. I had been using before TweetDeck, but even I don't even like that. And go figure, TweetDeck now owned by Twitter. So, Nick, do you have a recommendation for me as far as a good Twitter app to use where for somebody that has to maintain up to 10, yes, I said 10 Twitter accounts?
Well, on the Android platform, on the iPhone platform, I got you covered. But on the Android platform, it's a little hard to because the one I used back in the day, TweetDroid, I think it was called.
But here's the thing, too, Nick. Twitter is cracking down on their API, so a lot of these apps are going away because they can't use the API.
Yeah, it's getting a lot of crazy because TweetDroid used to be really good way back in the day, and then they went a little crazy with the Pro version, and they didn't know what to do with it. Seismic was one that was decent. I tried it out on the Android phone when I had it. It was not bad at all. That's got a good that has 4.5 stars with 149,000 reviews, man. So
wow,
right there, that's a decent one to try. That one I think is pretty good. Hootsuite is a decent one on the iPhone. So they have an Android version, so I'd give that a try. Let's see here. See, TweetDroid's still out there. It's only got 4 stars. Maybe they fixed a lot of the problems I had when I left. But I would definitely. It looks like the best one to go for was Seismic with the current feel of the Google Play Store here. Or Uber. Gosh, man, I can't talk now. Uber Social for Twitter. That's another one that's got some decent reviews going here. So just take a look, search for Twitter in the Google Play Store. You'll see all these folks. You can see all your alternatives. I use an alternative on the iPhone, Tweetbot. It's a great one. It's a good alternative. It runs 900 times better than the official Twitter app.
Yeah.
I love Twitter. I was a huge supporter of Twitter, but man, with their apps, they're dropping the stinking ball, and it's not cool, really.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Like I said, I was using TweetDeck before, but even I've noticed over the years that their app has really kind of gone in the dump, mainly because they're owned by Twitter now. So And I know a lot of it has to do with the API, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah, the one of the big problems with like a good Twitter app like TwitDroid is I had to buy it. Because all the good features, and that was back when there was no good Twitter apps for Android. No, Seismic wasn't out yet. None of these popular ones were out yet. So TwitDroid was it, and it was that or Twitter, and the Twitter app was really bad when it's first released. So I paid the $5 for TwitDroid Pro to get all the fancy features that I wanted to maintain in different accounts. That's $5 now. Why would you do that when there's tons of free apps that are pretty darn good, like Seismic? It's going to be interesting to see these apps with that API change, man. They're really pushing you to that official app, and they really screwed up that official app. It is freaking horrible.
Yeah, they just released an update too, and it's awful.
I want to kind of see what the let's see if there's some screenshots. Yeah, it's identical to the Mac one. Just the little interface is a little tweaked, but it's the same tabs where now you don't. I can't stand that thing.
Well, we'd love to hear your thoughts on the official Twitter app, as well as some recommendations for apps of the week. Hit us up at techtalk@spnt.tv. You can also follow us on Twitter. We are at SPNT Tech Talk. All right, so normally we record this show on Thursday nights, hence the name Thursday Tech Talk. But next week I will be traveling. I will be in Nash Vegas, also known as Nashville, with my good friend Nick Wallace here. We'll be working together face-to-face for the first time in well over a year. It'll be good to see you, Nick. I'm looking forward to the trip down, and I'm looking forward to some Prince's Fried Chicken.
We can go get some fried chicken. You better have. You don't like spicy stuff, though.
No,
man.
but I saw this restaurant on Cook's Country. It's one of my kids' favorite TV shows on PBS, and they show you how to make it, and so I grabbed the recipe. I made it at home. I loved it. Now I want to go try the real thing down at Prince's in Nashville. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we can. It's actually pretty darn close to my house here, so
it sounds good.
We can go get some Prince's Fried Chicken, definitely.
Fantastic, Nick. It's been a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next week, my friend.
Yep. So no show next week, folks, but keep those emails and suggestions coming. We'll store them up and give it to you when we come back.
Absolutely. That is going to wrap it up for episode 7. Lucky number 7 here of Thursday Tech Talk. Thursday Tech Talk is an SPNT production. For more information about our other podcasts, log on to spnt.tv. For my co-host, Nick Wallace, I'm Nick Suderling. We'll see you next time on Thursday Tech Talk.